Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Mina. Welcome to our channel, Mina Reads, and today I want to tell you guys about 6 new books that I have on my adult fantasy TBR. I made a video like this back in December and I've already almost finished that TBR, so I thought that it was about time for me to start planning out what adult fantasy I'm going to dive into next. So yeah, we're just going to talk about these 6 books that are on my fantasy TBR that I'm really excited to dive into. So the first one I'm going to tell you guys about is Ashes of the Sun by Django Wexler. Ashes of the Sun is about these 2 siblings, Maya and Grier. So Maya has been sold off by her parents to this group of people called the Twilight Order, and her brother Grier has been looking for her. And it's been 12 years since Maya was sold off to this Twilight Order, and Grier is seeking revenge and he is out to destroy this Twilight Order. However, come to find out, his sister Maya is still alive and she's okay, and she is fighting on the side of the Twilight Order. So it's about them being, I guess, like opposed to each other in this magical war, and I'm really interested in this. I love the idea of like a fantasy series where one of the main conflicts is like familial ties and like these siblings just being on opposite sides of an issue. It really excites me and I definitely want to try this one out. And I also know that the main character Maya, I believe, I think it'll be dual POV. I hope it'll be dual POV, but I know that Maya is a lesbian, so that excites me a lot. I definitely want to read more sapphic MCs in fantasy, so this is really exciting to me and I can't wait to try this one out. I've heard nothing but amazing things from like my friends on Goodreads, so I think this should be a good one. Also, I really like the cover. I just think the cover looks really cool, so see, it's nice. I like it. Okay, so then the next one is The Wolf of Oren-Yaro by K.S. Veloso. And The Wolf of Oren-Yaro is the first book in a series, and we follow this queen, Talyin, and she is kind of like the jewel of her people, and they were on the, so her people, they just finished this like really bloody war. I think it's called like the War of the Wolves or something like that. Yeah, so they just finished this bloody war called the War of the Wolves, and to create peace between her clan and the other clans, there's an arranged marriage between her and this other prince. So on the first night of her reign, she murders a man and her prince runs away, and this is basically about how the kingdom is sort of in disarray and falling apart as a result of these, you know, of the ramifications of that war that they were in, of the fact that this prince has ran away, and how Talyin is struggling to kind of keep the kingdom together. And so in this book, she receives like this kind of cryptic message from her prince that he wants to meet up and talk to her, and she doesn't know what he wants to talk about, but that's where the story starts off. I have read some of this book. I got like maybe 50% in, and I originally DNF'd it because the book wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. Because I'm going to read you the first sentence of this book, and I'm going to tell you that the book is nothing like that vibe. They called me the bitch queen, the she-wolf, because I murdered a man and exiled my king the night before they crowned me. So that sentence, I was like, oh my god, she's going to be the baddest bitch on the block. And like, no, she wasn't. I don't want to say that she's like incompetent, but the main character was a little bit incompetent. Like, she wasn't a good queen, you know, and she wasn't like this ruthless bad bitch that the first sentence made her out to be. At least not yet. So I just kind of felt like the advertising, for me, it rang a little bit false, and I just wasn't as interested originally. But I definitely want to dive back into it and see what it's all about. And I've heard amazing things about the sequels in this book, the sequels in this series, so I do think that it'll be good, hopefully. And I am excited because I have heard a lot of good things about the series as a whole, so I'm hoping that like I'll push my way through this first one and we'll see where the series ends up. Okay, so the next one that I want to tell you guys about is The Last Sun by Katie Edwards. This is like a adult urban fantasy series, and it's about, okay, look, I have read a little bit of this as well, and this one was kind of convoluted. So it's basically houses. There are these like courts of people, of like powerful people, and the houses are based on like the tarot deck, and so these people, they're like Atlanteans, you know, like the lost city of Atlantis. They are Atlanteans, and they have this like island city, and they have these like, you know, different powers and magic and stuff like that. And our main character Rune, he is from like the ruined Sun Court, and he basically operates as like a spy, I guess, and he does like different contract labor for these different like Atlantean courts. And so this one, basically Rune is trying to find the missing son of one of these like powerful courts, houses, I don't know how to describe it. And I was really enjoying this. I thought it was like really amusing, but I just, for some reason, I put it down. I wasn't in a fantasy mood at the time I was trying to read it, but I'm definitely back into the fantasy groove, so I want to give it a shot. And this does have some queer rep. Our main character is a queer man, and this is his own voices, so I am excited to dive into this series. I know there's going to be multiple, and the second book is already out, so I am excited about it. I do think that urban fantasy is like interesting, and I want to read a lot more of it because I love Jade City, and Jade City is like the best urban fantasy I've ever read, so I definitely want to read more urban fantasy and see if I can feel like a similar vibe to that. So yeah, trying this one out. So then we have The Bone Shard Daughter by Alexandria Stewart. This book, we're following a number of characters, but I think our main character, I believe her name is Lynn, and she is the daughter of this emperor. And in this empire that they have, they basically utilize something called bone shard magic, where they use shards of people's bones and they use that to like power these magical constructs that like keep their empire running. And basically Lynn is trying to convince her father to teach her the bone shard magic so that she can become the next emperor. However, he has like another heir that he's more interested in training, and so I think this is going to be like some kind of power struggle, political intrigue thing. I've heard a lot of good things about like the world building and how the magic system is really interesting, so I definitely want to know more about this series. And I also heard that there is some queer rep in this book, so I'm very excited about it. I've heard nothing but good things, and it has like a really high Goodreads score for a debut novel, so I'm like very excited about this, and hopefully it'll be amazing. So then we have The Unbroken by C.L. Clark, and in this story we're following two POVs. So we are following this soldier named Terrain, and she is a conscripted soldier. Her land has like been conquered by this other group of people, and so she's a conscripted soldier, and essentially at the beginning of this story she is sent back to her homeland to quell a rebellion. And this story is, I think, how she's going to be like radicalized maybe, and she's going to join the rebellion possibly. And then there's another main character who is like a princess, I believe, and this princess wants to usurp the throne from her uncle. I think he's supposed to be like a corrupt king or something like that. And so I have heard nothing but good things about this. I've heard that it's a really interesting exploration of like colonization, and I do think that there is like a romance between our two main characters, so that'll be interesting. I wonder how it'll be handled, and I wonder if it'll be good, so hopefully it'll be amazing. I was lucky enough to receive a copy from the publisher, so thank you to Orbit for sending this to me, and I'm really excited to try it out. Hopefully it'll be amazing. I also think this is a debut novel, so yeah, I'm really excited to follow this author's career and see what other books they're going to come out with. I think this is a series, but I don't know. And the last book is The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wong, and this is about this place called the Sword of Kaigen, and it is like this peninsula full of warriors, and these warriors are basically tasked with protecting the rest of their nation. From what I've heard of this, that is a really interesting like warrior type fantasy. And I know we follow this mother who we follow this mother who used to be like a famous warrior in her youth, but she like settled down to be a mother and a housewife. And we follow her son, who is like kind of the, I don't want to say the heir, but like he's next in line to learn his family's specific like fighting techniques and to be in charge of protecting the Sword of Kaigen and the rest of the Kaigenese empire. And I've heard that this is like a really emotional story. A lot of people that I've heard that read this, they like cried. I have no idea what they were crying about, but I do love a like really emotionally impactful fantasy, so I'm really excited about this. I've heard nothing but amazing things about the characters. A lot of people seem to get emotional over it, which is great in my opinion, and I'm really excited to try it out. So these are all of the fantasy that I really want to get into soon. I know I was terrible at describing them all. I'm very sorry about it. I don't know how people do TBRs and describe books that they haven't read yet, so I'm sorry. Hopefully the descriptions made even a little bit of sense, and yeah, I'm excited to read these books, and I'm excited to let you guys know what my thoughts are on all of them. So hopefully you will see me review them in the coming months. Let me know in the comments what book you think I should read first, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye you guys. Like, comment, and subscribe, and a special thank you to all of my wonderful patrons.